Episode 3, October 26th, 2010. Howard and Kevin opened your mail. Well, hello.
Oh, hi.
Well, hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
And you're Kevin.
Yes.
Now you say my name.
My name.
Oh, you're hilarious. All right, welcome to Howard and Kevin Open Your Mail.
That's the show, everyone.
And I'm Howard.
And I'm Kevin.
And you can check us out at HowardandKevin.com.
That's true.
And people go there to our website, HowardandKevin.com.
Yes.
And they check things out and they enjoy their visit.
Well,
but they also...
We don't know if they enjoy their visit or not.
I'm
hope they enjoy their visit.
Staking my reputation on it.
You have no reputation.
And they write us letters.
They do.
And then we answer them on this fabulous podcast right
here. It is. It's exciting.
So, hey, if you're listening for the first time, go to HowardandKevin.com and send us a letter.
Because we'll read it out
on
this show.
And then you can be part of the fun.
That's true.
You'll be sitting at home dancing about in glee, going, "Oh, they answered my letter."
What was that voice?
That was the kid at home being excited.
No, that was like an old-timey witch or something. I don't know what that was. It's like, "Oh, I will take you, children, and I'll put you in my candy house, and you will never get out." That works.
But first...
That Hansel and Gretel.
But first, we have to write Kevin and Howard a letter.
An evil witch in a forest who forces people to write letters to people who do podcasts.
You think we'll start getting a lot of letters that say, "Rescue me, I'm..."
Maybe, or angry witches.
Being held captive by a witch.
I think there's a lot of misinformation about witches, and I think we're propagating that by mentioning that they keep people in candy houses and stuff.
You think they deserve more fair treatment?
Yeah, I think so. I think witches have been, there's been a lot of bad press about witches, and I don't think they're as bad as they are. What I'm trying to do is I want to get like good mail from witches. I want to become like part of the coven.
Get on their good side.
Exactly.
You don't want to have a spell put on you.
No, because I think they'd be fun to hang out with. I'm just saying that witches would be fun to hang out with. That's all.
Yes. If you like to drink chicken's blood.
Well, I do that anyway, so yeah, I'll just do it with some friends now.
Your witch friends.
Yeah.
Does that make you a warlock?
No, because I could never be one of them. I just like to hang out with them. It's like if I got like some Asian friends. I could never be Asian myself, but I would hang out with Asian people.
It's true. Yeah. Maybe like an Asian sympathizer.
Not that I think being Asian is the same as being a witch. Anyone out there? I don't want to get into that whole thing, but yeah.
Good.
Anyway, we should probably get to a letter, Howard.
Let's get to a letter.
All right.
Because that's what we do here. We open people's mail.
We do.
The mail that they send us.
The first letter I have is from Bobby in Kingston, Ontario. He writes...
Bobby, did you say?
Yeah, Bobby. Yeah.
Kingston, Ontario.
Yeah.
The town of kings.
That is. It is. It's...
Or the king's town, I guess is more accurate.
It's true. Did the king go there when he was here?
Which king are you talking about? The king that named it?
All the way back to George, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah. This is dead.
Probably before George. You're talking about George VI, aren't you? I'm sure Kingston's been around longer than that. I'm guessing it's probably the King Edward I'm guessing 6th, maybe something like that, who was Queen Victoria's son.
Interesting.
So probably right about the early part of the 1900s. That's my guess.
All right, and they named it after him coming there.
I'm guessing. Or maybe just because he was the king. I don't know if he came there.
I see. Okay.
In those days, they named everything after him.
Before that, it was called Princeton.
How many things in Canada are named after Victoria?
Well, there's Victoria, BC, and that's all I can think of.
There's lots of other things. Prince Edward Island is named after the guy we're just talking about.
Yeah.
King Ed.
All right.
The province of Alberta, I think Alberta was one of Queen Victoria's daughters.
Oh, really? I didn't
know
that. Okay.
Because her husband was Prince Albert. Anyway, maybe we should get to
the
letter from Kingston, Ontario.
That wasn't his question.
He wasn't asking for a little history lesson of Canada.
No.
Canadian naming conventions.
Yeah, exactly. No, what he asks is, what is our favorite cereal? It's a simple question. It's not a particularly complex question, but what is our favorite cereal? Now,
breakfast.
Well, I guess I should preface this by saying I don't often eat breakfast, which is bad. I know, I understand.
It's the most important meal of the day.
I know, but I'm bad. I often wait and just have lunch. But this is often because
Of course, that's because you get up at 11:45
Yeah,
a.m.
well, exactly. I often, if I do get up, I usually starve myself, which is not what you're supposed to do. But I end up doing that. So yeah, I don't eat a lot of cereal, and I think I'm a little lactose intolerant, so I don't really. I would have to eat the cereal on its own dry, which wouldn't be as good unless
It becomes like a snack food at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, like trail mix.
Yeah, kind of thing. Now, did you eat cereal as a kid?
Sorry, I was enjoying a beverage. Yes, I did eat a lot of cereal. I remember when I was a kid, there were 3 cereals that I really enjoyed that were all from the same group. From the same organized group. I don't know who made them, but no, they were all the same thing. There was actually 4 of them, but I only ever enjoyed 3 of them, and they were Count Chocula, Frankenberry, Boo Berry, and there was also Fruit Brute.
What?
But I think Fruit Brute was only down in the States. I don't think we ever got Fruit Brute up here. He was kind of a monster-based cereal as well. That. Well, they're all monster-based.
Now. I think were those General Mills.
I think they were. Yeah.
General Mills.
Yeah. So Count Chocolate was obviously chocolate. Frankenberry was strawberry flavored cereal, and Boo Berry was blueberry flavored cereal, and Fruit Brute was just all over the place. He was like just all fruit.
Now I never ate any of those kind because I think probably my parents weren't didn't buy it. It's probably the main reason. But I never really liked the marshmallow bits.
Oh, okay.
Cereal.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Lucky Charms. I never was into that either.
They weren't the best part. The best part for me was always the milk would become flavored with the cereal.
Well, that's the big thing about sugary cereals.
Yeah.
Frosted Lucky Charms, they're magically delicious.
They are.
I always liked Fruit Loops as a kid.
Okay, Fruit Loops, yeah. Yeah, we used to have those. Yeah.
Honeycomb.
Never had those. We were not a honeycomb family.
Honeycomb's big. Yeah.
we never had honeycomb. We never had Sugar Smacks.
It's not small. No.
You're just gonna sing the
Sugar
song.
Smacks. No, they were.
Remember those?
I hated those.
Okay. We liked Captain Crunch too. That was that's a good. I could eat a box of that right now. That's a good quality cereal.
As soon as we're done this, let's go.
Let's go
go out to the grocery
Captain
store.
Crunch. All right.
And it stays crunchy even in milk.
It does. Oh my god, it's amazing.
I loved Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. What is that flavor even?
I don't even know.
Is
it was a corn-based cereal, but I don't know. I think
everything's corn-based.
Corn flavor.
Corn flavor?
I think so.
Like Corn Pops?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was along the same lines as that.
But crunchier.
Yeah,
it was like good. They were like Corn Pops, except they were somehow like.
I think they were stale Corn Pops.
They were like. Contracted, or what's the word? Like
condensed.
Condensed.
Yeah.
Sugary goodness.
I had a friend. I had a friend who recently he got a craving for Captain Crunch, and he went and bought like an entire box and ate the entire box in one evening, and felt
good move.
Yeah, he felt very badly. That was not good. You can't do that as an adult.
He felt guilty over the sadness of.
Yeah. No. He was sick. He was sickened by it.
Yeah,
which is because you can't do that stuff as an adult. You can do that as a kid.
Really? Could you? I don't know that much.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, I could go out for Halloween and get like a gigantic garbage bag full of candy and eat it all that night and be fine. Wake up in the morning, I feel great. Yeah.
Now, as a grown-up, I do eat cereal, but I very rarely eat the sugary ones anymore.
No, because you're an adult. We're not allowed to eat them anymore. It
just doesn't seem the right thing to do anymore.
No. So you're eating like, Fiber 1, that kind of thing. You're eating something else. With the
Fiber 18.
With the regular.
I eat like Cheerios sometimes. Rice Krispies.
Yeah. Special K, you ever heard of that?
The Rice Krispies, though, I still enjoy the snap, crackling, and the popping.
That's true. That does still happen.
I do like that.
Yes. Which has something to do with the chemicals in them, I think. Yes. It's some sort of radiation breaking down.
Do they do that?
It's radiation degrading. It's uranium.
To me, Fruit Loops really are the king of all those sugars.
Wow, that's interesting.
Like, I like the Frosted Flakes, and I like the Alpha Bits. I used to enjoy Alpha Bits as a kid.
Yep.
Some of the other ones, but really, had to narrow it all down to one for me. It was Fruit Loops.
All right. Well, I think
and you know what? The odd time now, even though I don't generally eat sugary cereals,
yes.
The odd time, if I'm like, let's say at some vacation, on some vacation or something like that, you're in like, you know, one of those like breakfast buffet places or something. They'll sometimes have, like, for kids, a table full of all those little mini boxes of cereal.
Yes, of course.
And every once in a while, I'll see like, oh, there's a little box of Fruit Loops over there. Maybe I'll just check that out.
Those mini boxes of cereals always remind me of being on vacation because my parents used to have them. We would have them in the hotel room in the morning.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it would be much cheaper to just eat at the hotel and then go and have your day at, you know, Disney World or whatever. And so, yeah, that always reminds me of being on vacation, those little boxes. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to get some of those.
Did you, as a kid, did you eat, like, you know how they say, like, you can cut the box in a certain way and pour the milk right into the actual box?
Yeah, which my parents didn't want us to do, but I demanded it because I knew that's how it worked.
Right. Yeah. But it is messy.
It is messy. It would always end up spilling.
I'm not surprised that your parents, that any parents
exactly.
weren't keen on that. I just used But that's the kind of things that kids would want to do.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I think we answered that. That is our favorite cereal. Fruit Loops. That was yours. I mean, I don't want to get into what mine was. But no, if I had to answer that question, it would be any one of those 3 monster-based cereals from when I was a child.
Count Chocula,
Frankenberry, and Boo Berry.
Right.
Boo Berry, probably my favorite, but only because it disappeared very quickly. That one did not survive through the 80s. Here in Canada, that is. It might still be down in the States, because they have everything good in the States.
Everything sweet and
wonderful, yeah. Yeah, that's why they all weigh 1,000 pounds each.
Hey, now.
Well, I'm just saying.
Let's be careful who we diss on our...
I can diss fat people because I'm fat. That's how it works.
I see.
I can do bald people too. There's a lot of stuff I can do. I have a lot of faults, so I can diss all those people.
All right. Well, I hope that that answers...
that was Bobby from Kingston.
Bobby, right? Yeah. From Kingston, Ontario.
I wonder where Kingston... No, let's not get into that again. All right, you got another letter
I do have a letter.
Hit me.
It's from Betsy from Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, Des Moines. Excellent.
And
that's in the heartland of America, everyone.
Yes, it is. And Betsy writes, Dear Howard and Kevin.
That's us.
Ever think about running away and joining the circus?
That's an odd question. All right, fine.
I hope she's not suggesting it.
Yeah, is she in the circus and wants us to join her there? Or
she's kind of saying, you guys really got to get lost.
Oh, maybe, yeah. She's just, this podcast thing isn't working out. I think you should go ride a tiger around.
But did you ever, that's kind of one of those things that, kids sometimes think about, I'm not happy here in my family.
Did I ever? Yeah,
I'm going to run away and join the circus.
Yeah. I don't think I ever wanted to join the circus, no. Because we didn't really see, I think I saw one circus when I was a kid. And it wasn't something I wanted to join.
Was it the Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, the greatest show on earth?
No, it was the other one. It was the
Garden
Brothers. Yes, that's right. Because everybody,
Why do I know my circuses? I do not know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think you did want to run away and join the circus. I think that's the
answer. I did like the circus as a kid. Not like a big obsession or anything, but I remember going... Actually, I remember in grade 1, actually.
Wow.
Grade 1, Mrs. Bates's class.
Oh, yeah.
And she was taking us to the circus, and actually, this is kind of, it just popped into my head. I remember it was raining that day.
Okay.
And on the way to school that morning, there were worms all over the sidewalk. You know, when it rains, the worms come out. So as a grade 1 kid, was I walking myself to school in those days? I can't imagine. But anyway, I picked up a bunch of worms and I carried them into the classroom. And I remember saying to the teacher, "Excuse me, Mrs. Bates, I found all these worms on the way to school today. Do you think we would like to study them in class today?" And I remember
you were an odd kid.
Yeah, and I remember her taking my hand with the worms, like kind of by the wrist, because all the worms were in my hand.
Yeah.
And like just turning my hand over and saying, "Not today, we're going to the circus," and just throwing them splat into the garbage can.
Oh!
And I remember, I'll never forget that sound of them hitting the bottom of the tin garbage can. Splat! These poor worms that had been alive a minute earlier.
Yeah.
Now they were dead because we were going to the circus.
I see. Wow, that's your story of worm murder. what you did there.
Well, did I murder them or did Mrs. Bates? I don't know.
Well, that's
but I do remember the thing that I really, really loved in the circus that day was the human cannonball guy.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah.
Act where they
course,
shoot out of a big cannon and fly across the whole arena and land in a big net on the other side.
It is dangerous. Yeah, that's not something I'd want to do in the circus. This is one of the reasons why I think I don't want to join the circus. One of my things was when I saw the Garden Brothers circuses, we were quite high up. I remember we saw it at the old Maple Leaf Gardens before it became a Loblaws or whatever it is now. And
under construction.
Under construction, yeah. Well, it depends on when they're listening to the podcast. If you listen to this podcast in 2028, who knows? It could
2028.
Yeah. Anyway, I remember we were very high up in the stands, and we were at about the same level as the wire that the guy walks across.
Oh.
And I remember being absolutely horrified because the dude was doing it like without a net. It was the tightrope walk.
Who's she? Who's she? A net. He said he was doing it without a net.
Wow, everyone. I'd like to apologize on behalf of the Howard and Kevin podcast for that joke that Howard just made. Send your letters directly to him if you'd like to complain about that. Not that it wasn't hilarious.
No. Thank you.
But anyway, yeah. So I remember being absolutely horrified as a child watching this guy go across this very thin wire with no net. And I think he had one of those like a stick balance bar things with him, which I don't know how that works, but I'm sure maybe a scientist could email in and let us know.
To Kevin the concept of balance.
Yeah. I don't get it because I'm just falling all over the place all the time. I think it was some sort of inner ear problem. But anyway, yeah, that was terrifying. So yeah, nothing about the circus made me want to join it.
Now, as a kid, there were certain things in the circus I liked. The action-packed stuff kind of thing. Guys getting shot out of cannons and things. But then there's a lot of sort of frou-frou stuff in the circus.
Frou-frou stuff?
Well, like people wearing very frilly costumes and tall, feathery caps.
Yeah.
Riding on the back of a beautiful white horse.
Okay, yes.
Things like that.
Yeah.
This is kind of like, I don't really find that interesting as a kid or even now.
Yeah.
Or even the trapeze, part of it was cool, but a lot of it was very ballet-like.
Yeah. Which you're not going to like as a kid.
I didn't really like that.
No.
But I think the idea of running away to join the circus is also about the idea that, you're always on the road, you're looking for adventure.
Yeah, I think how that's saying...
You're running away from your life.
Yeah, I imagine that saying was because... In olden times, when people didn't do any traveling themselves, the circus would be something that would travel and come to your town. Right. So the idea of leaving with them, kind of like that, would be, I think, what people would think of as a way of getting out of town.
Right, a big adventure.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll run off with these guys. They're transients. They seem to...
Yeah. You'd end up like in those days. Of course, the circus would come to a town, and it would not only be the circus, but there'd be like a little carnival that traveled with it, right?
Exactly. Yes.
And so you'd end up, if you or I ran away with the circus, we wouldn't be the trapeze guy or the tightrope guy.
No.
We'd be the guy running the ring toss game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good. Hey. 3 for a quarter.
Yeah. Exactly. You almost got it.
Now I will tell you that when I was in high school. We had this teacher. He was a what do you call it? Drama, like theater arts kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
Mr. Bates. I'm assuming all these teachers' names are just you made those up.
But he was a good guy, and he was like in his spare time of not teaching, he was like a clown. He would do clown acts and stuff. Yeah. And so he taught us all to juggle.
Okay, all right.
And to do all these like clowny activities and stuff. I can still juggle a bit,
Yeah.
And because of that influence at the time, I really, really wanted to learn to ride a unicycle. Because I always had this idea that it would look really cool to just ride around the neighborhood on a unicycle. To just go past people's houses. Hey, how you doing? And just like ride by, right? And so
you thought you'd get a lot of chicks riding a unicycle. You just thought, I'm going to be so popular riding around on this one-wheeled bike.
Chicks love circus folk.
They do.
So I actually got a unicycle.
Wow. Okay.
Which I have still got. And
unbelievable.
I have tried to learn to ride it for so many years.
Wow. And you've not mastered
and
it.
I cannot get it.
Yeah, well, it looks hard.
I cannot get it.
Yeah.
I've watched other people. I guess now that we're in the computer age, I need to look up like a YouTube video on how to ride a unicycle or something.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a tip that I never.
Well, now that we're
on.
in the computer age, you don't need to learn to ride. You do virtual unicycle online now. It'd be like Avatar, but it would be like everybody's on unicycle.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's all virtual.
But man, I could never get it, and it's like one of the great failings of my life.
You never learned to do unicycle.
I one of these days I'll get it.
That's sad.
But I guess I would have been a failure if I'd run away. I probably wouldn't have kicked out of the circus
for not being able to
ride the unicycle on a tightrope while juggling.
That would be a strange thing for your parents to have to tell people, though. So what's your son doing now? Did he go to law school or doctor school? What happened? No, he rides the unicycle in the circus now. That's just very strange.
Nowadays, of course, it would be in La Cirque.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like Jim Rose Circus. You'd be like hammering a nail into your nose.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant like Cirque du Soleil.
Oh, Cirque du Soleil. Well, yes, that seems to be the only circus. Well, do they still have the normal
No, I think
circus?
they still have the regular
okay,
circus.
right.
But now the regular circuses are kind of...
well, they're passé.
And they're, sort of,
Yeah, now people went, like
now.
Cirque du Soleil or whatever it's called. Yeah. They got like a giant... stage that rotates and people are flying all over the place.
Yeah, they've upclassed.
There's no elephants.
No, they had no animals at all. In
no. Yeah. Which is probably a good thing,
I guess.
Yeah,
I'm sure circus animals were not well treated. And for evidence of that, if anyone would like to learn more about how circus animals are maltreated, I suggest Dumbo.
The film
okay.
Dumbo, yeah, the cartoon, the Disney cartoon,
the Walt
Dumbo.
Disney cartoon.
All right. I thought you were going to make a serious statement about some sort of foundation you're a part of, or something.
This might be the beginning of it.
Okay,
but if you're looking for some background information, I suggest you watch the film Dumbo, which will tell you all about how the poor elephants are mistreated.
Well, they are. Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, they are. But, that also features an elephant that can fly using its ears. So, there's a little bit of truth and a little bit of baloney in that movie, I think. So which part take with a grain of salt. All right, well, that's good. I think we got to the
So I guess the short answer to Betsy's question is no.
Betsy, yes.
You're making fun of her?
I'm sorry. I didn't know anyone was named Betsy anymore. Like, what is this, 1952?
Her name is probably Betsy. What's your real name? Maybe Elizabeth, perhaps?
Is that what a Betsy is?
I think maybe.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just Betsy. Maybe her parents just named her that. Anyway, whatever. That's really beside the point. So thank you for your letter, Betsy. We hope that you don't run away and join the circus unless it's one of your lifelong dreams.
Yeah, maybe she wants to join
training.
She wants to be the human cannibal.
The point is don't run away from your problems.
Yeah, don't run away from your problems, Betsy. That's true.
Stand and face them, deal with them, and then learn to ride the unicycle and come back and teach me.
Okay, so our next letter is from Gary. He's from Daytona Beach, Florida.
Gary, Indiana?
No, it's Gary from Daytona Beach, Florida. Daytona
from Gary, Indiana?
No, you're not listening. You're not listening again.
Hey, Daytona!
Daytona's the name of like a stripper or something, They always name themselves after a city or something.
That's true.
Next up, Cheyenne.
California.
Yeah.
With a K.
Yeah. Wow, you know a lot about strippers, Howard. That's interesting.
That's all I know.
No, Gary asks, what's up with girls being so afraid of bugs and mice and shit? It's a fair question.
That's a good question.
Well, it seems to be women specific, that kind of thing, but it's not strictly limited to women.
It's not all women.
And it's not always
clear.
No, exactly. But I think
there is a cliche, a stereotype, a sort of.
But they seem to live up to that.
It is a common.
Yeah, because I remember my friend Susan in the old days, back when we were in college, and I was at her apartment one day, and she had been talking about a mouse that she saw in her apartment a couple days ago. And I was saying, well, it might have just come by. It's a big apartment building. They're probably in and out of all these apartments all the time. He might not come back. It'll be fine. So we're making dinner, and the mouse shows up, and he's there in the thing, and she literally screamed, actually screamed and jumped on a chair. Like we were in a movie from the 1950s. And it was hilarious because I didn't really care about the mouse so much as I cared about making fun of her for being such a cliche. And she was just concerned about getting the mouse out of the apartment. He ran back to his little hole or something, and he disappeared. But just the idea that she actually screamed and jumped on a chair, I just thought was hilarious.
That is funny, and it's often women. Like often, these women are perfectly
they're rational human beings. Yeah.
You know,
they can squeeze out a kid like nothing. You know what I mean?
Or they're fairly normal on every other count.
Yeah, but then a spider or a mouse comes along and they're shrieking and running out of the house. It's crazy. I know. I don't get it because I think my thing with insects and mice and these kind of things is that I actually find them so interesting that I'm not at all scared of them. Like a giant centipede could walk up and sit on my head, and I'd be way more interested in it than scared of it. You know what I mean? Like, saying that would probably gross me out a little bit. I'd probably want to get it off my head. But after I did that, I'd probably look at it and because I don't know. I think when you. Because to a certain extent, I think I've demystified them in a way that they're no longer scary. They're just part of our world around us.
You did a whole bunch of like autopsies.
I haven't done any of that.
And,
no. Well, no, because I like
mice I
like insects and mice. I never kill them. I especially spiders. I love spiders. And I think because I'm interested in them and how they work and what they do, and I do kind of feel like it's their planet too, and they have every right to be here. Maybe not in my food. I should have a flag waving behind me, maybe something like that. We should put this one out on Earth Day because people will love that.
It's my planet too.
But yeah, I just don't get it. I don't understand why people are scared of them.
Well, what do you? So there's got to be something in the way young girls are raised.
Yeah.
That something conditioning in their thing, or do you think it's just like inherent? You think regardless of
like an evolutionary thing?
Yeah. Well,
like
that's interesting.
Because I imagine that if we heard the sound of a tiger or something, in the night, out in the forest, if you're camping or something and you hear a tiger, you'd probably be scared of that. There's probably something in us from way back when, evolutionary-wise, if you believe that bullshit. That was a joke, everyone. But, I would think that would be just in us to be scared of those kind of things. But I can't imagine if a cockroach...
Like the fight or flight.
Exactly, yeah.
That's interesting. But a cockroach...
Yeah, what's a cockroach
and why? And the bigger question is why would a woman be scared of it and a man not be scared of it? If that's something from our biology.
Well, men might have been conditioned to not be afraid of them. So something takes over in us other than the fear part, which says we have to be macho and we have to not show fear to these things. Maybe
protective of our families first. Or something.
Yeah, like what came first? Does the actual fear of these things? No, I don't think it is because they just seem not. Because my nephew, when he was a kid. He's rocking in the forest, picking up every single thing he can find, keeping them, putting them in little boxes and stuff. He's got toads, he's got spiders, he's got everything, right? He loves them. He could have, snakes, in his pants. And he wouldn't care. But my little niece was like, oh! She'd be all scared of him all the time. So I don't know. Maybe
it's an interesting puzzle.
Yeah. It's a good question from Gary.
It's because girls are made of sugar and spice and everything nice.
That's right, and we're all toadstools or whatever the hell that is. Yeah. Toads and puppy dog tails.
Yeah, that's probably the reason.
You think so, because of that poem?
I do. I think that poem is based in fact.
Is that Robbie Burns, that poem? Or was it Keats or T.S. Eliot? I can't remember. Who wrote that lovely poem?
Well, girls are nerds. No, they're not nerds. They're wimps.
Is that what we've gotten to on this podcast? That's what we're going to end this podcast on, saying that
now there's girls listening right now who are saying, I'm not one. I'm okay with it. So write us and tell us, why are you
different than
fine with picking up a snake or brushing a spider off your shoulder?
I have a friend
when other girls flip their freaking lids.
Yeah, like I have a friend who's absolutely terrified of snakes. Like she can't look at a picture of a snake. It's that, and like I think that goes beyond any kind of sex.
That's like a phobia.
Like that's a phobia. That's a full on. She needs treatment. At the Snake Institute.
Wow. That's something.
Anyway, I think we're getting towards the end of our little podcasty thing here.
Yes, I think you're right.
That was another good one. We talked about cereal. We talked about snakes. Wow, what a show!
Now, if you could have some cereal that had little marshmallow snakies in it.
Oh.
Snakes and spiders. Hey, that's not a bad, actually.
That's
actually not a bad idea for a product. Little spiders and snakes and little mice.
Mice, yeah. Cockroaches. How about a cockroach-based cereal? That's just a big bowl of cockroaches you have with milk.
And then I could eat a bowl of it while riding a unicycle.
At the circus. All right. Well,
so, folks, thank you once again for listening to Howard and Kevin Open Your Mail. It's been nice having you. Don't forget to visit us at HowardandKevin.com. Go there and you'll find the archive of all of our other episodes. You can read our show notes.
Oh, yeah.
And you might even find a few other fun surprises.
Oh, there's so much good stuff out there on that website.
Check it out, HowardandKevin.com.
And don't forget, everyone, on HowardandKevin.com, you too can send us a letter, which we just might read an answer on.
Howard and Kevin, open your mail.